Hi. How can we help the homeless? How can we get them into shelters, or into warming houses, or actually get them permanent housing? Now, there's this thing that apartments get tax credits. And if they take in so many people that are low income and 30% of their income, and it's a subsidy. Now, how do you find the, the apartments that are throughout the United States that take in these subsidies? Now, wouldn't it make sense for the government who takes in the tax credits? And wouldn't it make sense for them to list what apartments are under the subsidies so they can get that out there? So they can say, yes, we have subsidy. Yes, you can come here. Yes, or they're low income. Yes, they can get an apartment at a reduced rent so they can afford to live. And one they could have a list of all of the ones that get the tax credits, all the apartments throughout the United States, and then people can find a place to live and even have to maybe relocate. But they'd be happy to relocate if they had a roof over their heads. Now, there's also vouchers. I don't know too much. I'm trying to find out more about how to get into low income housing or how to get obtain a voucher, who the vouchers are for, and who they help. There's vouchers. Vouchers are where they'll kick in the difference in rent that they can't afford, and what charities give them out, and are you on a waiting list, and like you're on a waiting list for Section 8 in Minnesota, and it takes a long time to get in places, and you're also on a list in Minnesota for um, like the housing, what's it called? We have a department, a housing department in Minnesota. Trying to think of what it's called. I know where it's located, but it's where you would sign up for Section 8 and see which counties are available with Section 8, and it's all one location. And I was trying to find out more about it, and trying to find out how to get on the list for Section 8, how to apply. And how to get into places like that where it's a percentage of your income to rent. But the government could help so much and care if there's tax credit housing where they give tax credits to these apartment buildings to take in so many people that are low income. If they actually put that list out there, there'd be so many less homeless. And they actually got together a list of all the people that get a tax credit to supply homes for low income, and then people would know, well, yes, we have a subsidy, yes, because it's not affordable. It takes two people to make it, um, on incomes to afford rent, at least a two income family. It's not affordable housing in Minnesota. I know that. And I think this would help all throughout the United States to help people get into homes. Um, so if you had a list of taxes when they fill out their taxes, and they got that list and supplied that to local social service agencies throughout the US, or even just publish the list so people can look themselves and try to find their own housing, for people who might need a new place to live, for people who might be looking to be out on their own. The only way to really afford it is at 30% of your income. And that's what they documented. And that's usually low income, below so much money that you would be able to qualify to move into their subsidized housing. Um, the government could help and not look at the homeless as a eyesore, but try to help them get and establish and make permanent residency. I just watched a video about even our elderly not having placed over, losing their home, or having a husband die and can't afford their taxes every year, or not good at budgeting, or nobody helped them budget, and then they lost their house or lost their housing. Now, any of this kind of stuff can happen. The face of the homeless is vast, and it hits anyone from 16 to senior citizens. And I wouldn't want it to be you. Everybody deserves to have a roof over their head. And only maybe 1% of the population chooses not to. And you shouldn't look at them as an eyesore. You wouldn't want to be that, and you don't want to get a ticket. Why would we give out a ticket or not let? I remember seeing something in Florida where a church was going in and making hot food for the homeless, and they actually got arrested and for feeding the homeless. Why? Why would you withhold necessities, which food is a necessity and a warm meal is nice to have? And the church used to do that every day for them at a certain time. So, why do people not care? Why do they not worry? Because they're making plenty of money. And they look at them as an eyesore. You know, it's really a shame. Money doesn't matter in the end. And what you do to help others is what matters. So, if you can, try to donate to charities, or try to recommend apartment buildings to be subsidized, and try to get more people so they can get off the streets. Try to have charities or organizations that will go out and try to help the homeless, and try to help the population. So I would hate to see it for anyone. Um, uh, uh, I have examples of things like someone I know. If her husband wouldn't have died, she would have had to get a divorce to keep her home, or otherwise the hospital was going to take it. And they would have gotten a lien, or made her sell it so they could keep giving him treatment. No, he died soon enough where it didn't happen. But if he would have stayed alive longer than that, she would have lost her home. Now, hospitals can get your home. The government can get your home once, or put a lien on it if you end up in long-term care. And people lose homes for lost a job, and then the never find another job, reputations, anything. And then you have families that are actually homeless, and they're afraid to get their kids taken away from them, or maybe they already have, because they couldn't supply a house for their kids. It's really a shame. And instead of getting to that point, there should be emergency assistance that help with housing, and people going out and talking to the people and trying to get them into places. The housing is about 1,100 a month, and when people are getting welfare for a single person, it's 600. How are they supposed to afford a house in Minnesota? When there's two people, it's probably 1,000. At least that was the rates and stuff of what they're getting, and they don't get very much. So they have to have it where it's 30% of their income. When then who kicks in the rest is um, the business, because they're getting a reduction on their taxes. So and then the vouchers are another way that are where do you get a voucher? How do you get a voucher? Who qualifies for a voucher? Where different organizations will pay for a reduced rent. And there's Section 8, but that waiting list is really long. And if you actually get, are you getting notified? Are you getting able to, do you have a way to get notified? Do you need mail, or you need a phone, or you need a lot of applying for benefits now is on a phone. If you're homeless, you don't have a phone, or you can't charge it. I watched a video where they were having trouble trying to charge their phones. And it's just to get to that point where you actually lose everything. You need to try to get into a house before you end up on the streets. And how do you do that when it's so hard and there's so many roadblocks? How do you get into low income housing? Are qualifying? Who do they let know? How do you have an in? How do you know the waiting list? I've tried Googling so much stuff. I didn't find much. And I know it's out there. I know there's a lot of apartments that have tax credits where they will take in low income people, so that they get a reduction on their taxes for these apartments. So I think it should be put out there, and it should be a list to social service agencies or whatever. The government could help if they wanted to. Let's see what happens. Have a blessed day.